Sean's blood chilled as the insectoid alien revealed the horrifying designation given to humanity's homeworld. Level 8, Hellworld, a place too dangerous for civilized races to dare approach. Sean stepped out of his ship onto the foreign planet, his enviro suit shielding him from the acrid sulfurous air and viscous purple ooze blanketing the ground. His suit sensors flared warnings, detecting movement nearby. Tall, chitinous figures emerged from behind boulders, Talarians, feared for their advanced tech and xenophobic aggression. Weapon barrels trained on Sean. "Why trespass on our territory, human?" Sean spoke their tongue fluently. "I come in peace to build ties between our kinds." Commander Prylar spat in disgust. "Peace with humans? Foolish thought." He leaned close, compound eyes glinting. "We've watched your Earth for centuries, classified at a level 8 Hellworld, a planet too volatile, erratic, perilous for sane species to engage. You court extinction, daring to leave that cosmic cesspool." Sean reeled, mind racing. Level 8. Hellworld. Earth? How could a humble explorer bridge rifts with an empire that viewed his home as untouchably deadly? But he had to understand more, even if the truth destroyed his galactic view. Humanity's future among the stars might hinge on dispelling this hellish myth, or embracing the deadly reputation and forging onward, undaunted. Sean met Prylar's gaze, unflinching. "Explain this classification, this Hellworld. I must know what you believe humans to be." The commander beckoned with a spiny arm. Sean followed close behind as Prylar led him down a narrow, twisting corridor. The enviro suit's boots clanked against the metal grating. After several turns, they emerged into a shadowed chamber, its dim light tinged an eerie green. Prylar made a series of clicking sounds and the room sprung to life. Holographic displays flared on every wall, illuminating the space with a kaleidoscope of images. Scenes of Earth, from antiquity to the modern age, flashed before Sean's eyes. Prylar gestured to the screens, his multifaceted eyes glinting. "Behold, human, the long vigil of Talarian eyes upon your savage sphere." Prylar pointed a long, sharp claw at a display showing primitive humans, garbed in animal skins, wielding crude spears. They battled against saber-toothed cats and woolly mammoths in an icy, windswept landscape. "From your species' feral dawn, you clawed dominion from the fangs of beasts and the furies of nature. No hardship broke you, not the blazing heat of your sun-scorched deserts, not the bone-chilling cold of your ice-blanketed poles. Like insidious vermin, you swarmed every nook of your deadly world." There was an almost appreciative tone to Prylar's clicks and hisses, but it was undercut by a tremor of trepidation. The commander manipulated the controls, and the screen shifted, cycling through images of strife and conquest. Spartan phalanxes clashed with Persian ranks. Mongol hordes rode down fleeing infantry. Redcoats exchanged volleys with revolutionary soldiers. Your so-called civilization climbed ever higher on foundations of bloodshed. Century upon century of ceaseless slaughter, each generation more adept at dealing death than the last. The images accelerated, blurring into a smear of carnage, resolving into the great wars of the 20th century. Biplanes swooped over muddy trenches, raining bombs. Tanks rolled over war-torn rubble. Mushroom clouds bloomed over leveled cities. Gaunt figures in biohazard suits scoured streets lined with corpses. Prylar fixed Sean with a piercing stare. "Your weapons shattered worlds, poisons choked multitudes, and this you deem achievement? This the fullest flower of your kind?" Sean's gaze darted across the shimmering holograms as Prylar manipulated the controls once again. The gruesome montage of humanity's violent history shifted, replaced by scenes of wonder and triumph. Prylar's sharp claws traced the outlines of sleek spacecraft soaring through the inky void, dancing between distant stars. "Your species' capacity for invention and discovery rivals the most advanced races we have encountered. In mere centuries, you progressed from crude combustion engines to fusion-powered ships capable of crossing the galaxy." The Talarian commander zoomed in on images of human scientists hunched over glowing consoles and bubbling beakers. their faces etched with intense focus. Your brightest minds have unraveled mysteries that confounded civilizations far older than your own. Quantum computing, artificial sentience, nanotechnology. You have mastered them all. Despite the grudging respect in Pryla's tone, Sean sensed an undercurrent of unease. The commander's multifaceted eyes narrowed as he brought up new displays, showing robotic soldiers marching in perfect unison and prisoners strapped to strange devices, their eyes glazed and vacant. Yet for every breakthrough that could uplift your species, we have witnessed others that could spell your doom, and ours. Autonomous war machines, mind control technology, self-replicating nanobots capable of devouring worlds. You develop these without hesitation, heedless of the consequences. Pryla fixed Sean with a piercing stare, his mandibles clicking ominously. If humanity were to turn its formidable intellect fully towards conquest and subjugation, you could become an unstoppable blight upon the galaxy. That is why we dare not engage with your kind directly. The risk is too great. Sean met the commander's gaze unflinchingly, his voice steady and assured. But that's just it. We have a choice. Our technology is not inherently good or evil. It's a tool, one we can wield for creation or destruction, and we have chosen, time and again, to use our knowledge for the betterment of ourselves and others. He gestured to the displays, bringing up images of human doctors administering vaccines, of vast hydroponic farms in the heart of once barren deserts, of shimmering force fields holding back the rising tides. Look at what we have achieved. Cures for diseases that once ravaged our people, sustainable agriculture to feed our billions, defenses against the ravages of a changing climate. We are more than our darkest impulses, Commander. Pryla studied the images, his expression inscrutable. After a long moment he turned back to Sean. Perhaps, but the fact remains your species is too unpredictable, too dangerous for us to engage with openly. Our policy towards Level 8 Hellworlds is clear. We cannot risk the fate of the galaxy on the chance that you will choose the path of peace. Sean opened his mouth to argue, but Pryla silenced him with a raised claw. Enough. I have entertained this discussion far longer than I should have. You will be escorted back to your ship and allowed to leave Talarian space unharmed. But do not return, human. Next time we will not be so lenient. A shrill klaxon shattered the tense atmosphere of the shadowed chamber. Red lights strobed along the walls as Pryla whirled, his clawed fingers flying across a nearby console. The displays shifted, resolving into a live feed of the planet's surface. Sean leaned in, eyes widening at the sight. A titanic human warship pierced the clouds, its angular hull bristling with armaments. Thrusters flared as it descended towards the Talarian settlement, the very air shimmering from the heat of its engines. Kraxar's teeth! Pryla spat the alien curse. They followed you, human. Your meddling brings destruction upon us. The commander slammed a spiny fist against the console. His voice blared through unseen speakers, translated into harsh clicking Talarian. All warriors to battle stations. Prepare for imminent human assault. These savages will rue the day they dared threaten the Talarian Empire. Sean stepped forward, hands raised in a placating gesture. Wait, Commander. Let me talk to them first. This doesn't have to end in bloodshed. Pryla rounded on him, mandibles flared in aggression. You expect me to trust the words of a human, after everything we've seen your kind capable of? Sean met the commander's multifaceted gaze, unflinching. What choice do you have? Your warriors are formidable, but against the might of that ship, it would be a slaughter. Give me a chance to resolve this peacefully. Pryla's eyes narrowed, but after a tense moment he stepped aside, gesturing to the communications array. One chance, human, fail, and the blood of both our peoples will be on your hands. Sean nodded solemnly and approached the console. His fingers danced across the alien controls, working to establish a connection with the human vessel. Static crackled, then resolved into the voice of the ship's captain. Sean recognized her immediately, Captain Arya Vance, a legend in the Explorer Corps. This is Captain Vance of the UES Frontier. We come in peace. seeking to establish diplomatic relations with the Talarian people. Jean's heart leapt at the words. He quickly explained the situation planetside, urging the captain to hold her fire. As the conversation progressed, the truth became clear. Earth had been monitoring the Talarians for years, marveling at their advanced technology and wisdom. The humans believed that an alliance could benefit both civilizations, fostering understanding and cooperation in a chaotic galaxy. Pryla listened, his stance shifting from aggression to shock, then contemplation. When Sean finished, the commander spoke, his words carefully measured. Perhaps I have misjudged your kind, human. If what you say is true, then there may be a path forward that does not lead to war. Sean smiled, hope blossoming in his chest. Let us find that path together, Commander. My people are eager to learn from yours, to build a future of peace and prosperity for us all. Pryla nodded slowly, then turned to the communications array. Captain Vance, I am Commander Pryla of the Talarian Empire. I accept your offer of diplomatic talks. The Talarian's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. But such a momentous meeting cannot take place here or on your Earth. We will convene on neutral ground, where neither of us holds sway. Sean leaned forward, an idea sparking in his mind. What about Kepler 186F? It's an uninhabited world not far from here, with conditions suitable for both our species. There was a pause, then Captain Vance's voice crackled over the comm. Agreed. Transmit the coordinates and we will meet you there. As the link disconnected, Sean turned to Pryla, extending a hand in the human gesture of goodwill. To new beginnings, Commander. May this be the first step in a long and prosperous friendship between our peoples. Pryla regarded the outstretched hand for a long moment, then slowly, tentatively, grasped it in his own chitinous claw. Indeed, Sean of Earth, indeed. Together, the human and the Talarian strode from the chamber, each step carrying them closer to a future that for the first time in centuries held the promise of hope. As the Talarian and human ships glided through the void towards Kepler 186F, Pryla pulled Sean into a secluded corner of the command deck. The insectoid commander's compound eyes darted furtively, ensuring none could overhear. There is more you must know, Pryla clicked in a hushed tone. Our classification of Earth as a Level 8 Hellworld was not entirely due to your species' volatility. Sean leaned in, brow furrowed. What do you mean? Pryla's mandibles twitched. Centuries ago, our scouts discovered an ancient alien artifact buried deep beneath your planet's surface, an artifact of immense power, capable of revolutionizing space travel and propelling its wielder to galactic dominance. Sean's eyes widened. What? How is that possible? We believe it to be a relic of the progenitors, the mythical race said to have seeded intelligent life throughout the cosmos. But the artifact is as dangerous as it is powerful. In the wrong hands, it could unleash unimaginable destruction. Pryla fixed Sean with a piercing stare. The Talarian Empire has sought to secure this artifact for generations, but we dared not act directly, lest we risk exposing its existence to your kind, and so we watched and waited. Until now, Sean breathed, realization dawning. You think I can help you get it? The commander nodded. With your knowledge of Earth and your connection to your people, you are uniquely positioned to aid in its retrieval. Do this, and the Talarian Empire will formally recognize humanity as a Level 5 civilization. You will have earned your place among the stars. Sean's mind raced. The prospect of such an advanced alien technology was both exhilarating and terrifying. It could propel humanity centuries ahead, but at what cost? He met Pryla's gaze. I need to know more. What exactly is this artifact? What can it do? The commander hesitated, then gestured to a holographic display. An image flickered to life, depicting a strange angular device etched with glowing glyphs. Our scholars call it the Nexus Key. From what we have gleaned, it is capable of manipulating the very fabric of space-time, allowing for near-instantaneous travel between distant points in the galaxy. But its power is not limited to mere transportation. Pryla's voice lowered to a whisper. Some believe the Nexus Key holds the secrets to the progenitors' ascension, the means by which they transcended their mortal forms and became beings of pure energy. In the right hands, it could elevate a species to godhood. Jean felt a chill run down his spine. The implications were staggering. And in the wrong hands? Unrestrained by wisdom and caution, the Nexus Key could tear reality asunder. It could erase entire civilizations from existence, or worse, twist them into nightmarish abominations. That is why we have hidden its existence for so long. Pryla placed a clawed hand on Sean's shoulder. I am taking a great risk in revealing this to you, but I believe it is a risk we must take, for the sake of both our peoples. Will you help us, Sean of Earth? Will you be the bridge between our worlds? Sean closed his eyes, the weight of the decision settling heavy upon him, to secure humanity's place among the stars, but at the risk of unleashing untold destruction, to forever alter the course of his species' destiny, for good or for ill. He looked up, meeting Pryla's gaze with a determined stare. I will help you, but we do this my way. We find the artifact, secure it, and study it together. Earth and Talaria as equals. No secrets, no lies. Agreed? The commander was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, he nodded. Agreed. But tread carefully, human. The path ahead is fraught with peril, and the consequences of failure are more dire than you can possibly imagine. Sean's jaw clenched. He knew the risks, but he also knew the potential rewards. For the first time in history, humanity had a chance to stand tall among the stars, to forge a destiny beyond the confines of their ancestral home. And he would be the one to lead them there, no matter the cost. Sean strode purposefully across the gleaming halls of the human ship, his boots clicking against the polished metal floor. The weight of Pryla's revelations hung heavy on his shoulders as he approached the captain's quarters. The door slid open with a pneumatic hiss, revealing Captain Arya Vance hunched over a holographic star map. She glanced up, her brow furrowed. Sean, I thought you were planetside with the Talarians. He shook his head. We need to talk, Captain, in private. Arya's eyes narrowed, but she nodded, gesturing to a chair. Sean sat, leaning forward. Pryla told me something that changes everything. The Talarians found an artifact on Earth, an ancient alien device of immense power. Arya scoffed. Alien artifacts? Sounds like a tall tale to me. I thought so too at first, but Pryla showed me proof. This thing, the Nexus Key, it could revolutionize space travel, propel us centuries ahead. But it's dangerous, incredibly so. Sean took a breath. Pryla wants our help retrieving it. He says if we do, the Talarians will recognize us as equals, allies. The captain leaned back, her expression guarded. And you believe him? This could be a trap, a ploy to lure us into a vulnerable position. I know. But I also know that if this artifact is real, we can't let the Talarians get their hands on it. We need to secure it, study it, understand it. Sean met Arya's gaze. I propose a joint operation, human and Talarian personnel working together to retrieve the artifact safely. It could be the first step in building a real partnership between our species. Arya was silent for a long moment. Then slowly she nodded. I'll consider it, but I need to know more. And I need assurances. This can't just be a Talarian power play. Agreed. We'll hash out the details, make sure everyone's on the same page. But, Captain, I truly believe this could change the course of human history. Arya's lips quirked in a wry smile. For better or worse, Sean, for better or worse. Meanwhile, in the Talarian command center, Pryla paced like a caged predator. His claws clicked against the console as he brought up the feed from the negotiation chambers. The talks were proceeding too slowly. The humans were asking too many questions, demanding too many concessions. Pryla's mandibles twitched in agitation. They were stalling, he was sure of it, buying time while they plotted to seize the artifact for themselves. He couldn't let that happen. The Nexus Key was the key to the Talarians' ascendancy, their rightful place as the galaxy's dominant power. He would not see it snatched away by these upstart primates. Pryler turned to his subordinates, his voice a low hiss. "Put all warriors on high alert. If the humans make a move, we'll be ready." He stalked to the armory, his mind whirring with contingencies. If diplomacy failed, he would not hesitate to use force. The artifact would be his, one way or another. As the tension mounted, Sean's wrist communicator chimed. He glanced down, his eyes widening at the message scrolling across the screen. It was from an unknown sender, but the content was clear. A group of human rebels, dissidents who rejected the Explorer Corps' mission of peaceful contact. They claimed to have vital information about the Nexus Key, information that could shift the balance of power. They wanted to meet, to share what they knew, but the meeting had to be secret, away from prying eyes. Sean hesitated, torn. He was already walking a razor's edge between the humans and the Talarians. If he was caught colluding with rebels, it could shatter the fragile trust he'd built. But if they were telling the truth, if they really did know something critical about the artifact, he couldn't ignore it. The stakes were too high. Mind made up, Sean sent a terse reply agreeing to the meeting. He would slip away at the first opportunity, journey to the remote coordinates they provided. He only hoped he wasn't making a terrible mistake. Sean crept through the shadows, his heart pounding as he approached the remote meeting site. Every rustle of leaves, every distant animal cry set his nerves on edge. This secret rendezvous could change everything, for himself, for Earth, for the fragile human-Talarian alliance hanging by a thread. A figure emerged from the darkness, and Sean tensed, hand darting to his sidearm. But as the man stepped into the dim light, Sean's eyes widened in shock. Jack Novak?" His old friend grinned, but there was a hardness in his eyes Sean had never seen before. "It's been a long time, Sean." Sean clasped Jack's hand, mind reeling. "What are you doing here? I thought you were on a deep space mission." "I was, but I found something out there, something that changed everything." Jack leaned in, his voice low and urgent. "I've been working with a faction of Talarians, ones who don't trust Pryler or his ilk. They believe the artifact is too dangerous for any one species to control." Sean's brow furrowed. "Dangerous how?" "It's not just an energy source, Sean. It's a weapon, one capable of destroying entire planets." A chill raced down Sean's spine. The implications were staggering. "My God, and Pryler wants to retrieve it?" Jack nodded grimly. "He'll stop at nothing to get his claws on it. That's why we have to act first." He gripped Sean's shoulder, his gaze intense. "Join us, Sean. Help us destroy the artifact before it's too late." Sean hesitated, torn. Betraying the human delegation, the Explorer Corps, everything he'd worked for, it was unthinkable. But if Jack was right about the artifact's true nature, the consequences of inaction were too horrific to contemplate. I need to think about this, Jack. It's not a decision I can make lightly." Jack opened his mouth to argue, but a sudden roar split the air. A Talarian ship descended from the clouds, thrusters flaring as it landed mere meters away. The hatch hissed open, and Pryler emerged, flanked by a dozen armed warriors. His compound eyes fixed on Sean, narrowing with suspicion and rage. "Sean of Earth, what is the meaning of this clandestine meeting?" Sean stepped forward, hands raised placatingly. "Commander Pryler, I can explain—" "Explain. Explain why you consort with known rebels, with traitors to the Talarian Empire." Pryler's claws flexed, his mandibles quivering with barely contained fury. "You have betrayed our trust, human, betrayed the alliance we sought to forge." Sean shook his head desperately. "No, you don't understand. The artifact, it's not what you think it is." But Pryler was beyond listening. He barked an order in harsh Talarian, and his warriors surged forward, seizing Sean and Jack in unyielding grips. "Your fate will be decided before the council, human," Pryler hissed. "As for you, traitor," he spat, glaring at Jack, "your punishment will be swift and merciless." As they were dragged aboard the Talarian ship, Sean caught Jack's eye, saw the flicker of fear and determination there. The artifact, the alliance, the very fate of two species hung in the balance. And Sean had never felt more helpless, more utterly trapped by the weight of an impossible choice. Sean's pulse pounded as he grappled with the Talarian guard, his envirosuit's gloves slipping on the alien's chitinous armor. Jack dispatched the other sentry with a swift kick, sending the insectoid sprawling. Alarms blared through the compound as the two humans sprinted into the dense foliage. Thorny vines tore at their suits. Thick trunks loomed in the twilight murk. Harsh insectoid cries echoed behind them, spurring them onward. "They'll be on us in minutes," Jack panted. "We need to find cover, lose them in the wilderness." Sean nodded grimly. Their only hope was in the alien jungle's twisted depths. A flash of movement caught his eye. He skidded to a halt. A dark opening gaped in the undergrowth, leading underground. "There, a cave system. It's our best shot." Jack hesitated. The caves could hide other dangers. But distant thrashing drew closer. Pryla's warriors pursued relentlessly. "No choice, let's move." They plunged into the Stygian depths. Envirosuit lights illuminated slick rock walls and craggy spires. Moisture beaded on their faceplates. The tunnels wound downward, ancient stones swallowing them. Minutes stretched into hours. Exhaustion dragged at their limbs. Sean's suit pinged a low oxygen warning. They had to surface soon. Jack held up a hand, visor gleaming. "Sean, look, light ahead." A soft glow beckoned. They stumbled into a vast cavern and staggered to a stunned halt. A subterranean city stretched before them, lit by eerie luminescent crystals. Spires of dark metal clawed upward. Catwalks wove between cyclopean structures. Alien glyphs adorned every surface. "My God," Sean breathed. "An ancient alien civilization buried for millennia." Reverent awe etched Jack's face. "The builders of the artifact, they didn't just visit Earth. They had an outpost here." Curiosity overpowered caution. They ventured into the necropolis, drinking in wonders. Holograms flickered to life at their passing, speaking in long-dead tongues. Devices of inscrutable purpose hummed with eldritch energy. In a central plaza, a towering obelisk caught Sean's eye. Glyphs swirled across its surface, coalescing into a strangely familiar pattern. With a shock, he recognized it. A star map, detailing this sector of space, and there, marked with pulsing runes. "Earth," he whispered, and this symbol appearing over and over. It must signify the artifact. Jack nodded slowly. The map to the artifact's location. With this, we could reach it before Pryla secure it safely. A tremendous boom shook the cavern. Dust sifted from the ceiling. Dread seized Sean's heart. "They've breached the tunnels. Pryla's troops will be on us any second." Jack's jaw clenched. "We have to download this map, transmit it to the Resistance. This place could have other secrets, things that might turn the tide." They rushed to the obelisk, hands flying over the controls. But with every touch, the runes pulsed faster. A deep rumble built beneath their feet. Cracks spiderwebbed the plaza. "It's a trap," Sean realized with horror. "An ancient defense system." Geysers of scalding steam erupted from the fractures. The cavern shook like a dying beast. A grating voice thundered from unseen speakers, bellowing in accusing Talarian. "Thieves, defilers, you dare steal the secrets of the ancients? The city's guardians awaken to purge you." Metallic screeches tore the air. Hulking constructs clambered from hidden alcoves, eyes blazing with merciless light. Ancient weapons thrummed to life, ozone crackling. Sean and Jack fled, dodging energy blasts and falling debris. The very city had turned against them, a furious, unstoppable enemy. They careened through collapsing halls, searching desperately for escape. All the while the ruins shuddered and cracked. Ages of disrepair had weakened the city's structure. The defense system strained ancient machinery past its limits. The humans' intrusion had triggered a catastrophic chain reaction. Ceilings crumbled, floors caved in. Sean and Jack clawed their way up, ascending through layers of destruction. At last, they burst from the cave mouth, gasping in the thick alien air. Behind them, the hidden city died in a maelstrom of fire and crushing stone. The secrets of the ancients disappeared once more, swallowed by the hungry earth. But clutched in Sean's hand was their prize, a data core, snatched from the chaos, thrumming with forbidden knowledge. The map to the artifact, a treasure now beyond price. Pryla's forces emerged from the smouldering ruins, battered and furious. The chase was not over, not by far. If anything, the stakes had only grown higher. For Sean and Jack now knew the truth. The artifact was no mere trinket or treasure. It held the power to reshape worlds or shatter them. And they were not the only players in this deadly game. Ancient forces stirred to life, powers beyond human or Talarian control. The race for the artifact had begun, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. Sean's fingers flew over the ancient console, the glyphs on its weathered surface shifting and realigning under his touch. Jack stood guard at the chamber's entrance, his weapon trained on the crumbling passageway. "Almost got it," Sean muttered, sweat beading on his brow. "Just a few more, there." With a final triumphant keystroke, the console lit up, bathing the room in an eerie, pulsing glow. The ground rumbled beneath their feet, ancient machinery grinding to life after millennia of dormancy. "The defense system's shutting down," Jack said, relief evident in his voice. "Let's get the hell out of here before this whole place comes down on our heads." They sprinted through the collapsing tunnels, dodging falling debris and geysers of scalding steam. The city shuddered and groaned around them, its death throes echoing through the stone. At last they burst from the cave mouth, gulping in lungfuls of the thick alien air. But their relief was short-lived. "Going somewhere, humans." Pryla's voice cut through the haze, dripping with menace. Sean and Jack spun, finding themselves encircled by a phalanx of Talarian warriors, weapons leveled at their chests. The commander stepped forward, his compound eyes glinting with triumph and barely contained rage. "The map. Hand it over, and I may grant you a swift death." Sean's grip tightened on the data core, the weight of its secrets heavy in his palm. He exchanged a glance with Jack, saw the same stubborn defiance etched in his friend's features. "Not happening, bug boy," Jack spat. "You want this map, you're going to have to pry it from our cold, dead hands." Pryla's mandibles quivered with fury. "So be it, warriors, take aim." A deafening roar split the sky, the air itself seeming to vibrate with its force. A shadow fell over the assembled soldiers, vast and imposing. "What in Kraxar's name?" Pryla's head snapped up, his words dying in his throat. The human warship hovered above them, its hull gleaming in the alien sun. Weapons turrets swiveled, locking onto the Talarian troops with ominous precision. "Attention, Talarian forces," Captain Vance's voice boomed from the ship's external speakers. "Stand down immediately or face the consequences." For a heartbeat, no one moved, the tableau frozen in a moment of tense anticipation. Then chaos erupted. The warship opened fire, energy blasts raining down on the Talarians. Warriors scattered, some returning fire, others fleeing for cover. Pryla roared with rage, his own weapon spitting deadly bolts at the human vessel. "Sean, come on!" Jack grabbed his arm, dragging him towards the waiting ship. They sprinted across the battle-scarred ground, dodging explosions and sizzling laser fire. As they neared the ship's ramp, Sean skidded to a halt, a sudden realization crashing over him like a frigid wave. "The map!" he gasped, staring at the data core clutched in his hand. "Jack, it's not just a map to the artifact." He turned the device over, revealing a line of glyphs etched into its surface. Glyphs that, now that he looked closer, bore a chilling resemblance to the ancient warnings they'd encountered in the buried city. "It's a warning, a message from the civilization that created the artifact. They knew it was too powerful, too dangerous for any one species to control." Jack's eyes widened, understanding dawning. "You mean—" Sean nodded grimly. "The artifact, it's not a tool or a treasure, it's a weapon, one capable of unimaginable destruction." He looked up, meeting Jack's gaze with a fierce intensity. "We can't let it fall into the wrong hands, human or Talarian. We have to find it and destroy it before it's too late." Jack hesitated for a moment, the weight of the decision heavy in the air between them. Then slowly he nodded. "All right, we do this together for the future of both our species." They turned to the waiting ship, to Captain Vance and the human delegation who had put their faith in them. Sean's jaw set with resolve. "We have a new mission, Captain. The artifact, it's not what we thought. We need to find it and destroy it before it can be used to unleash untold devastation on the galaxy." Vance's eyes narrowed, but she nodded, trusting in Sean's judgment. "Understood, we'll need to move quickly before the Talarians regroup." As the ship lifted off, leaving the battle-scarred planet behind, Sean clutched the map close, his mind racing with the challenges that lay ahead. The path forward was fraught with peril, the stakes higher than any he had ever faced. But he knew with a bone-deep certainty that this was a fight they could not afford to lose. The future of humanity, of the Talarians, of every species in the galaxy, hung in the balance, and Sean would do whatever it took to ensure that future was one of hope, not destruction. Sean, Jack, and their human allies raced across the alien landscape, hearts pounding, sweat dripping. The map to the artifact burned in Sean's pocket. Behind them, Pryla's Talarian forces gave chase, insectoid cries echoing. They crested a ridge and skidded to a halt. A vast canyon yawned before them, spanned only by a narrow, crumbling stone bridge. Ancient glyphs etched its surface. "Looks like the artifact's creators left a few surprises," Jack muttered. No choice. They charged across, ancient stone cracking under their boots. Blaster fire sizzled overhead. A human soldier cried out, toppling into the abyss. On the far side, a dense jungle loomed. Twisted trunks and luminescent foliage formed a labyrinthine maze. They plunged in, thorny vines tearing at their suits. A guttural roar shook the earth. A massive beast burst from the undergrowth, all claws and fangs and armored hide. It barreled towards them, crushing trees like matchsticks. "Hellworld wildlife!" Sean shouted. "Scatter!" They split apart, weaving between the trunks. The beast pursued, its roar deafening. Blaster fire pattered uselessly against its hide. Talon and Jack flanked the creature, unleashing a barrage of plasma grenades. They exploded against its flank, driving it back. The beast spun, whip-like tail lashing out. Talons flew, slamming into a tree with bone-crushing force. Jack dragged him to cover, firing blindly. "We can't keep this up." Sean gritted his teeth. "We have to. The artifact is close. I can feel it." They pressed on, leaving the roaring beast behind. The jungle thinned, revealing a towering cliff face. A small opening gaped at its base, glyphs glowing around its edges. "The chamber," Sean breathed. "We made it." They stumbled inside, flashlights cutting through the gloom. Towering statues loomed, alien features twisted in warning. At the chamber's center, a pedestal rose from the stone. Atop it, the artifact pulsed with eldritch light. Sean reached for it, fingers trembling. A sharp click froze him in place. He turned slowly. Pryla stood at the chamber's entrance, weapon leveled at Sean's chest. Talarian warriors fanned out behind him, weapons humming. "Step away, human," Pryla hissed. "The artifact is ours." Sean shook his head. "You know I can't do that. This thing is too dangerous. It has to be destroyed." "Fool," Pryla snarled. "With this power, the Talarian Empire will ascend to greatness. We will not be denied our destiny." Talarian and human weapons snapped up, tension stretching to breaking point. Sean's eyes darted, seeking an opening. There, a glint of metal, half buried in the rubble. An ancient explosive, still primed. He lunged, snatching it up. Pryla roared, firing. The chamber exploded into chaos. Plasma bolts crisscrossed scorching stone. Sean rolled, dodging, explosive clutched tight. He came up beside the artifact, Pryla looming over him. The Talarian's eyes blazed with fury, weapon aimed true. Sean met his gaze unflinching. "I'm sorry, but I can't let you have this. The galaxy depends on it." His thumb found the detonator. The world slowed. Pryla's claw tightened on the trigger. Sean activated the explosive and hurled himself forward, colliding with the artifact. Pryla fired. The world vanished in light and thunder. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.